Today we're training legs, and it is a hamstring and glute focused leg day. So I'm going to be starting off with a little bit of glute and ham raises. We're going to do some leg curls, make our way over to some deadlifts, bulgarians, and then maybe some leg extensions for extra quads. I've been nursing a quad injury on my right side, so I've been focused more on training my posterior chain, hitting the glutes, the hamstrings, lower back, and it's been going well, but I'm definitely excited to get back to squatting heavy as shit and hitting quads heavier or harder as we go. So I'm going to start off by doing 3 sets of 12 on this, supersetted with seated leg curl for the same rep range, and then we're going to move on to deadlift. The important thing on these glute ham raises is really using your spinal flexion. So going all the way down, coming up and squeezing. I almost imagine like a king cobra. Like when it, I don't know, it hisses, I guess you could say, right? Really squeezing all through the back line, hamstrings, glutes, lower back. And then similar to like a sit-up, you're gonna curl your spine all the way down at the bottom. Again, doing these for 3 sets of 12. We'll wrap up here. I'll meet you over at the leg curl. All right, next up we got seated leg curl. So the important thing with seated leg curl is to make sure that you got the right setup on the machine. So I heard from my mentor, a guy named John Meadows, you want this part of the leg curl, I can't think of what it's called right now, but like the flexion joint to be in line with your knees. So I'm 6 foot, and I usually set the machine at like a 3 or a 4, depending on the brand, as far as seat's concerned. That way when I sit down, I lock my legs and my knees are in line with this here flexion joint. And then obviously get the length right, so I use large, however long your legs are. I got long ass legs. In here I'm gonna be doing sets of, I said 3 sets of 12 earlier. I'm actually gonna do 12, 10, and 8 for my working sets. And let's get it going. Slight tip is when you're doing these leg curls, you can kind of lean forward, increases your range of motion. It's like stretching your hamstrings pretty intensely at the top, and then a nice squeeze at the bottom. It's pretty self-explanatory, but this really helped me back when I started training to think of your hamstrings as literally your leg biceps. So just like your biceps, right? You want to kind of go all the way down and a nice squeeze. If you want to make it even more challenging, you can even stop and do a nice static hold on your last rep each set. Stretch the shit out of your hamstrings. I'm gonna bust out 2 more sets of this, 2 more sets of the glute ham raise. I'll meet you over for deadlifts. Something I didn't mention is when I'm training, I normally try to aim for 2 to 3 working sets per exercise. And I follow something similar to like Dorian Yates or Mike Mentzer, if you know who I'm talking about, where it's kind of like this build up to these 2 or maybe 1 really aggressive balls to the wall sets. You'll see that here in a second with deadlifts. I'll usually, do a couple of warm-ups, but then I have this 1 set where I, fucking go for it. So I'll document this leg curl set. I started off, I think, with like, I don't know, maybe 100 pounds for my first set. I'm about to get close to 200 for this last set and get 6 to 8 reps where I'm like really going all the way. So anyways, let's get it done. shit. Okay, same thing for deadlifts. I'm doing kind of this pyramid set where I'm working up to a set of probably 4 to 6. The last couple weeks I've got 405, 4 sets of 6 to 8. So I think today I'll go a little bit heavier, maybe do like 415 or something like that. But just want to give maybe some thoughts and tips on deadlift. So this is definitely my favorite lift and one that I've always stayed relatively strong at. You know, like in the past when I was super jacked, getting up to 500 pounds was no problem. But now, you know, on the rebuild that we're doing, 405 is kind of my edge at the moment. But anyways, getting started. So if you've never deadlifted before, or if you just want to hear me ramble on about my specific tips, I like to just walk up to the bar, leave just a little bit of space between my shin and the bar, and I like to take a relatively narrow grip. So I don't like my arms out wide. I like them very close, just right outside of shoulder width, which really helps me to feel a sense of like power and drive when I'm pulling the bar, because I'm almost like rubbing against my legs. And everybody has different leverages, different leg lengths, hips, arms, torso, so on and so forth. But anyways, so yeah, once I kind of reach down, now the bar's touching my shins. Kind of depends on the gym you have too. Like this has a groove in it, so the bar's kind of fixed. But yeah, anyways, reach down, I pull the slack out of the bar, and then drive. I'm very glute dominant, so a lot of this drive is coming from my glutes, and I'd even say like upper back. So very strong lever, and yeah, you just want to make sure you pull the tension out of the bar before you drive, because the worst thing you could do is go, you see people like snap the bar like that. You're asking to tear your bicep or fuck up your back. So again, I'm gonna be warming up, getting up to my top set of 6. I'll meet you there when I've got above 405 on the bar, and we're ready to rip that shit. In between my sets of deadlifts today, I'm gonna be training abs, just doing some hanging leg raises for sets of probably 12 to 15. I like to normally train abs and calves at the start of the session, just because I get lazy and I don't want to do it at the end. But I kind of forgot today while I'm filming, so we're just going to bust out these hanging leg raises. We want a nice, slow and controlled tempo. I personally don't touch my feet together just because I kind of have some imbalances in my hips and abs that I'm working on. But it's pretty self-explanatory. You just raise your legs up, work those lower abs. Most people are very deficient in their lower abs. They're weak, they don't train them. So I really emphasize my lower abs, which has led to overall ab development. So again, sets of 12 to 15 in between deadlifts, just kind of warming up the abs. We warmed up the lower back, the hamstrings earlier. Now it's time to rip some motherfucking deadlifts. Okay, so it's last week I mentioned I did 405 for 6. The week before that I did 405 for 8. Kind of lost some weight last week after doing this crazy challenge and wasn't eating as much, but today we're gonna throw these bad boys on and take 405 up to 415. And the target is 6 reps. Let's get her done. You know, I had to wear the Dragon Ball Z shirt today for this leg day. Just a note, I'm going to be using obviously a belt, which I have this, I believe it's an Inzer belt I got back in like 2020 when I was super big and strong. It's amazing. And then I'm also going to be using these, they're called Versa grips. I think they still make them. I've had them since 2020. Bit different than regular straps. I like these more just because they're a little bit easier to wrap on the bar. So that's the equipment I'll be using. Normally if I'm going above like 350 on deadlifts, I'll for sure use a belt. And right now, anything above, I don't know, 375-ish, I've got to use straps to make sure my form stays good. I don't want my grip holding me back from the weight I can pull. As long as my form with the straps is good, then we're rocking and rolling. So I'm gonna take a breather. I gotta set this mic down just because it cuts out my music, and I wanna listen to some angry shit, get this job done. So I'll meet you there. We're fucking throwing on some Eminem. We're getting this shit done. I found out if I put the mic here, it doesn't cut out my headphones, so you get to be along for the ride. All the grunts, the cursing, and the fucking celebration. Let's get it done. Easy fucking weight. Gah! Oh yeah. Ah. Ah. 2 more. Ah. 1 more. Ah. Fuck yeah. Well, I'm fucking pumped with how deadlifts went today. A little, I wouldn't call it a PR, it's not a personal record, but a little more than last time. That's the important thing. Next, we're gonna be doing some Bulgarian split squats here on this little platform thing I'm sitting on. And I'll do 3 sets of 10 to 12 per leg. So that'll be fun, not. And then we'll wrap up with some calves and call it a day. For Bulgarians, if it's available, I like to use kettlebells just because it's like, for some reason, easier to hold than dumbbells. And also I can kind of have more freedom with how I want to place my hands. Versus with dumbbells, you're kind of stuck having them like this. Kettlebells, I can kind of have that sort of grip. But as I'm looking around, the kettlebells are missing in action today. So I'm gonna go track down some dumbbells, and I'll meet you back here for some nastiness and Bulgarians. Bulgarian squats, or Bulgarian split squats, are an exercise that I have a major love-hate relationship with because I love how they blow up my legs and how, like, I guess I love the results that they get me, but I fucking hate doing them because they suck. So I'm gonna throw on some tunes, and like I say, 3 sets of 12. 1 set is 1 leg, then the other. So 3 sets per leg of 12. The important thing with Bulgarians is to take your time. You don't want to hurt yourself, and it's all about the tension. So once you get set up, nice, slow, controlled reps. Try to keep rest around 30 to 45 seconds and then get back into it. Now that we're done with Bulgarians, we're gonna move on to calves, call it a day. I'll see you there. Finish up today's leg day, doing some seated calf raises. I'm gonna get 3 working sets of 10 to 15, and I really emphasize the stretch on these. So hard contraction at the top, as you can see here, super long stretch. Squeeze, slow down, stretch. Squeeze, slow down, stretch. So again, I'm gonna do 3 sets, 10 to 15 of these. We're gonna go stretch, we're gonna call her a day. In between calf raises, I'll normally do something called tibialis raise. This is a very strange place to do them, but essentially you just, essentially all you do is you just hang your feet from, like, your step on your heels, hang your toes off of something, lean slightly back, and just flex your toes towards your shin. A lot of people don't realize we have a calf muscle here called your tibialis. If you train that and get it nice and juicy, your calves get this crazy 3D look. It also is a very protective muscle for your knees. So if you train this, not only are you gonna help your knees, you also have big juicy calves. Would it be a workout if we didn't check the gains after? I don't know. They're slowly coming back, ladies and gentlemen. After every workout, I'll take a couple of minutes to do some stretching, especially stretch the muscle group that I just trained. I do quite a bit of yoga as well, which keeps me mobile and flexible, but after a workout, while the muscle's full of blood, it's super good to stretch it out, avoid injury. It kind of just feels nice to wind down after a rage-fueled workout, listening to Eminem, Metallica, and all sorts of crazy shit. But anyways, yeah, I usually just do some intuitive stretching, make sure to hit the main muscle groups that I trained. Anything else that's feeling tight, I'll show you in a second, but like some decompression type shit for my spine, especially after heavy deadlifts like today. And yeah, then we'll go shower and we'll call her. These quads are smoked after Bulgarians. If you're enjoying these little gym vlogs, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe your current fitness goal, what you liked from my training. If you have any thoughts, feedback, I'd love to hear it. And like I say, the last thing is I do some spinal decompression, which is super simple. You just jump up, grab a bar, and you hang. This is not only good to get a little taller, but keep your spine healthy, keep your shoulders healthy. Feels damn good. Sometimes you can get a little lightheaded though, so make sure you're breathing, move your head around. We do a lot of sitting down in today's world, so it's super important we balance that out with some stretching, lengthening of everything, since we're constantly compressed, hunched over on our computers, on our phones. Good shit.